All right, so welcome to another deep dive where we take a bunch of really cool material and we pull out the really good stuff
Yeah,
that you need to know.
the insights. Yeah.
And today we're tackling a word
Hmm.
that I'm sure you've heard a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're gonna talk about like.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
We got some great sources
Right.
that are gonna help us unpack why English speakers use the word like so much, and more importantly,
Mhm.
we're going to try to give you like
Yeah,
actionable advice about how you should think about the word like and whether you should use it
absolutely.
so in your own speech.
I think it's probably a question that a lot of people have had.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever, noticed how often it comes up in conversations?
Yeah.
Is it just this meaningless filler word,
Totally.
or is there actually, something more to it?
I've been in situations where I'm like counting in my head
Oh, yeah, me too.
how many times this person says like,
Especially if they're younger. It's like,
yeah.
oh, wow.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So in this episode, we're going to get into.
the hidden roles that, plays.
Right.
We're going to tell you, when it's actually a useful tool,
Yeah.
when maybe it's not a good thing,
Uh-huh.
and how to use it naturally without sounding too...
Right, exactly, like
Okay.
without going overboard.
Right.
So it seems that like a lot of people think that like Salikia is just this random filler word,
Yeah.
but what we're seeing in the sources is that actually it's got all these different functions
Yeah.
in communication. So
Mhm.
it's not just this random thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's actually contributing in different ways.
Right.
And the sources actually identify like 4 main functions of the word. Like,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Let's hear them.
All right. So the first one is quoting thoughts or imitation.
Oh, okay.
So this is where like dat is being used to basically act out speech
Yeah.
or visually represent a reaction.
Okay. So
Give me an example.
you've got something he was like, no way.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that, no way, you immediately get a sense of the tone
Mm-hmm.
and the disbelief.
Yeah, you can almost hear the other person.
Exactly.
saying it.
Yeah, you're reenacting it with the
Right.
and then there's the visual reaction,
Hmm.
and then the crying face emoji.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So the emoji helps,
Hmm.
but the is setting up that emotional state
Yeah.
in a very concise way.
Like it's almost like you're saying like, I was feeling this way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a shortcut to conveying emotion
Yeah.
without needing this lengthy description.
Right.
So yeah, that's the first function.
Okay, so function number 1, quotative. Like,
Yeah, quotatively.
yeah.
Okay, what's number 2?
Number 2 is approximation.
Okay.
So this one is pretty straightforward. It's where we use like to signal that a number or an amount is not exact.
Yeah.
It's an estimate.
Okay.
So for example, you say it takes like 20 minutes.
You're not saying exactly 20 minutes.
Right, right.
You're just giving a rough idea.
Yeah, yeah. Like it could be 19 minutes, it could be 21 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's introducing this level of vagueness,
Mm-hmm.
which is totally acceptable
Yeah.
in casual conversations.
Of course. Yeah.
You don't want to sound
Yeah.
overly precise when you're just giving a general idea.
Right, yeah. Like I was just in the store for like an hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, not exactly an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So give or take.
That's approximation.
Okay,
Yeah.
approximation.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Number 3,
Number 3,
softening statements.
softening statements.
Yeah. So this is where like pieces used to make a statement less direct or blunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like if you think about the example, I like don't agree versus just I don't agree.
Yeah, those are very different.
Right.
The don't agree is much softer.
Yeah. It's way softer.
Yeah.
And actually research suggests that this might be a politeness strategy. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it signals that the speaker's awareness that there might be a difference in opinion.
Right.
And it kind of creates more conversational space.
Yeah.
Especially when direct disagreement could feel too confrontational.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like I don't agree is a lot better than I disagree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's softening states.
Softening statements, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. What
Yeah.
about number 4?
Number 4.
Okay.
This is thinking pause.
Thinking pause. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like I do this one a lot.
Oh, yeah. This is a classic.
Yeah.
Everyone does this.
Yeah.
This is where you're mid-sentence.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to gather your thoughts.
yeah.
Is this verbal breathing room?
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me an example.
So, for example, I want to, travel more.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I use that one all the time. It's like I want to like.
It's like a placeholder.
Yeah.
It allows you to keep talking. Well, you're like, oh, what was I going to say?
Right. Yeah, like it just keeps the conversation flowing.
Exactly.
You don't have that like
Yeah.
dead air.
Awkward silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty fascinating how this like one little word can do all this stuff.
Yeah, like it's amazing how adaptable it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Depending on the situation.
totally.
So yeah, those are the 4 functions.
Those are the 4 functions of like, okay,
Uh-huh.
very cool.
And there's this fun fact.
Oh, fun fact. Okay.
That quotative,
Huh.
or like the one where you're reenacting speech,
Right.
that one really took off
Hmm.
in the 1980s.
Okay.
And you won't believe where a lot of it came from.
Okay, tell me.
It came from the Valley Girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
So like that whole Valley Girl phenomenon
Right.
really contributed to like the popularity of using Jen like in that way.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So like something from pop culture can actually affect our language.
right. It's like language isn't this static thing.
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And so like certain features can become popular.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see how it happens.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of like how language is always changing,
Mm-hmm.
what about like the different generations
Yeah.
and how they use the word like
Right, because not everyone has the same relationship
right.
with this word.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so like if you think about the boomers,
Uh-huh.
they tend to use like in this way much less frequently.
Okay.
And some of them might even find it a little annoying,
Right.
you know,
Like jarring.
jarring. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just hear someone saying, like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
can kind of like,
Right. Yeah, like nails on a chalkboard for
Yeah.
some people.
especially if you're not used to hearing it.
Yeah.
So then you've got the millennials
Right.
who really seem to have embraced this frequent use of like,
Yeah.
especially in the 1990s
Mm-hmm.
and the 2000s.
Okay.
You know, like think about the, like, what are,
Oh, yeah, yeah, like said in that like really sarcastic way.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just the word itself.
Right.
It's the intonation,
Yeah.
the feeling associated with it.
Right.
It could be very different across the generations.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so boomers, not so much millennials.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Gen Z?
All right. So Gen Z is using it in their own way, too.
Okay.
They often use it more to signal like tone rather than direct quotations.
Right, okay.
So like one example that was given is that's like iconic.
Okay.
So it's not like they're quoting someone saying that's iconic.
right.
It's more like they're adding emphasis
Yeah.
or flavor to what they're saying.
So it's almost like they're saying like that's really iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they really mean it.
Yeah.
And it often comes with this sense of like irony
Yeah.
or shared understanding.
Right?
So it's like, you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all on the same page here.
Yeah.
This is like iconic. Yeah. So linguists would call this like a pragmatic marker
Oh, okay.
where you're signaling something about your attitude
Yeah.
or how you want the listener to interpret what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, so like it's not just conveying information. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
conveying like a feeling
Exactly.
or
Yes.
an attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how Gen Z is using it
Right?
a little bit differently than the millennials,
Right. And way differently than the boomers.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting how like one word can be used so differently by like different groups of people.
I know. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like it shows you how language is always changing
Yeah.
and adapting.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that came up in one of the listener anecdotes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like someone wrote in
Uh-huh.
about how they had this professor
Okay.
who would literally circle every time they used the word like in their essays.
Wow.
And one time they got an essay back
Uh-huh.
and there were like 50 circles.
Oh my God.
Like they'd use the word like 50 times
Yeah, that's a lot.
in one essay.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you like
Yeah.
how much we use it.
And how unconscious it can be.
Right.
Like you're not even realizing you're
Yeah.
saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in some contexts, it's definitely not appropriate.
Right.
Like you don't want to be using it that much
Especially like in an academic paper.
in an academic paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
this brings us to like, I think the core question of
Mhm.
this whole deep dive, which is like, should we even be using the word like?
Right. Like, is it a good thing? Is it
Yeah.
a bad thing?
Yeah.
Should we be trying to get rid of it?
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So let's look at that.
Okay. What are the pros?
Okay. So the
Well,
pros.
using the word like.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the pros is that it can make you sound more natural in casual conversation.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because, like we said, it's
Yeah.
how people actually speak
Yeah.
in informal settings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like if you're not using it,
Uh,
you almost sound like too formal.
too stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a robot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
So
it's
you sound more relaxed.
more relaxed, more
Yeah.
approachable.
Yeah. Okay. And we also talked about how like it can soften statements.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So it can help manage your tone,
right.
make you sound friendlier
Yeah.
rather than blunt.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good thing.
That's a good thing,
Yeah.
especially in social interactions.
Yeah.
Where you want to be mindful
Yeah.
of how you're coming across.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, in some situations, like when you're telling a story
Yeah.
with friends,
Uh-huh.
like using like is actually kind of expected.
Right.
It's part of that like informal storytelling style.
Yeah. It makes it more engaging.
Yeah, more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so those are all good things.
those are the pros.
Okay, what about the cons?
All right, so the cons.
Okay.
One big one is that it can sound unprofessional
Right.
in formal writing
Yeah.
or presentations.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be giving a presentation
Yeah.
to your boss
Uh-huh.
and saying like every other word.
Right, yeah. Or like a job interview.
Or a job interview, you
yeah. Like those are situations where you don't want
know.
to
Definitely not.
be using like too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we saw with that student who used
Yeah.
it 50 times in their essay.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it can make you sound unsure
Right.
or hesitant.
Yeah.
Even if you're not.
Right.
Like you might be super confident in what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if you're saying like all the time, it can kind of undermine that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then the other con is that some people just really don't like it,
Yeah.
especially older people
Yeah.
who didn't grow up
Yeah.
hearing it all the time.
Right, right.
Yeah. So they might judge you
Yeah.
if you use it a lot.
Yeah.
So it's good to be aware of that.
right.
Yeah.
So like really what it comes down to is like knowing your audience.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like if you're in a casual setting
Yeah.
with people who use like a lot,
Uh-huh.
it's probably fine to use
Yeah.
it yourself
Yeah.
in moderation.
Yeah.
But if you're in a more formal setting
Mm-hmm.
or you're talking to someone who you think might not appreciate it,
Right.
then it's probably best to avoid it.
Or like really, really cut back.
Yeah, cut back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we like find that sweet spot?
Hmm.
You know, like how do we sound natural without going overboard?
Right.
And like
Yeah.
what about people who maybe like want to reduce how much they use the word like? Like
Yeah.
how do we do that?
Okay, so let's say you want to fit in
Mm-hmm.
more informal settings.
Yeah.
The advice is to use like for those specific functions we talked about,
Okay.
like for quoting and for
Yeah.
approximations.
Right.
So it's like you could say it was like the biggest pizza I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sounds natural in a casual conversation,
Yeah.
but like in general, avoid it
Uh-huh.
in emails
Right.
and presentations.
Yeah.
Like those are more normal contexts.
Right. Okay, so be careful in those situations.
Yeah, be mindful.
Yeah. Okay, what about all those other times we use like where it's not really doing anything?
Like when it's just a filler.
Right. Yeah.
So instead of saying like I like think we should go,
yeah.
you could try I think we should go.
Oh, okay.
Or even just pause for a second.
Yeah.
Sometimes silence is better
Yeah.
than a filler word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can make what you're saying
Mhm.
sound more impactful.
More impactful, yeah.
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 Okay, so what about people who like really want to reduce how often they're saying like,
So there are a few things you can do.
okay.
One is record yourself speaking.
Oh, yeah.
This can be really helpful because you might not even realize
Right.
how often you're saying it.
Yeah. I bet it's a lot more than we think.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So record yourself, listen back,
Uh-huh.
and you might be like, wow, I'm saying it like,
Yeah. That's a good tip.
And then the second thing is make a conscious effort to pause
Mm-hmm.
instead of saying like,
Right.
this will take some practice.
Yeah.
But you can train yourself
Uh-huh.
to use silence,
Yeah.
to like bridge your thoughts.
Right. Yeah. It's like breaking any habit. You
Exactly.
have to like be really intentional about it.
Yeah, you have to be mindful.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the third thing is to think about alternatives.
Okay.
So instead of, she's like, that's amazing,
Yeah.
you could just say, she exclaimed, that's amazing.
Right.
Or she said, that's amazing,
Yeah.
enthusiastically.
Yeah. Or for approximations.
Mhm.
Instead of saying it costs like $50,
Uh,
you can say it cost about $50, right? Right.
so there are ways to convey the same information
Yeah.
without using the word like.
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting because even people who use likey a lot in conversation,
Mm-hmm.
when they write formally, They don't use it.
Right.
So it shows you that it's not really essential
Yeah.
to the language.
It's more of like a spoken thing.
Yeah, more of a spoken thing.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great.
Yeah.
So I think we've given people a lot to think about
Yeah.
in terms of like, how to use like properly.
Yeah.
But we also have a little challenge for you.
What a challenge.
Yes. So to help you become more aware of your like usage,
Mm-hmm.
we're calling this the like audit.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a 3-part mini challenge.
Okay.
Okay, so number 1,
All right.
we want you to just notice
Mhm.
how many times
Yeah.
people are saying, like when you're watching TV,
Yeah.
when you're listening to podcasts,
Yeah.
even when you're just talking to people.
Right.
Yeah,
In everyday life.
Start noticing how often people are saying it.
Just become aware.
Yeah, become aware.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2,
Number 2.
we want you to try intentionally using it.
Okay.
Okay, so
In a quotation.
yeah, so like my friend was like, let's go get tacos.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so like see how it feels.
Yeah. Does it feel natural?
Does it make sense?
Does it sound weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and number 3,
Number 3.
try speaking a few sentences without using like at all.
Ooh.
Yeah, like really make a conscious effort to not say it.
Okay.
See how that feels?
Yeah. Does it feel more formal?
Yeah.
Does it change the tone?
Yeah, does it make you sound smarter?
Right. No.
Or dumber?
Or dumber.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
It's all about experimenting
Yeah.
and like becoming more aware
Yeah.
of this little word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's your challenge.
that's your challenge.
The like audit.
The like audit.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to recap,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about how like views is not meaningless.
It has all these different functions.
There's a purpose
Yeah.
in certain situations.
Yeah, like quoting.
Approximating, softening, thinking,
Oh,
pausing.
yeah. And we also talked about like how different generations use it differently.
Mhm.
And we gave you some pros and cons to
Mhm.
think about,
Mhm. Yeah.
So like ultimately it's up to you
Right.
to decide how you
Yes.
want to use like,
Yeah. To like or not to like?
Yeah, to like or not to like. That is the question.
That is the question.
Yeah. So here's something to think about.
Okay.
Like, is not good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool,
It's a tool.
Yeah. And you should use it strategically
Right.
when it adds value
Yeah.
to what you're trying to say.
When it enhances your communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe think twice
Mhm.
before you just default to using it
Right.
when it's not really necessary.
Yeah. So next time you hear someone complaining about like,
Uh-huh.
you can be like, actually, I like totally get
Yeah.
why it can be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it can be really helpful
In the right context.
in the right context.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A very nuanced perspective,
Yeah.
which is what we aim for here on the deep dive.
Yeah. Always.
Always.
Okay. And just a little sneak peek at our next deep dive.
Ooh, a sneak peek.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about English pronunciation,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe more accurately, the lack of rules when it comes to English
mhm.
pronunciation.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're even going to tackle that classic example
Okay.
of how the word goatee
Goatee.
could actually be pronounced fish.
What?
Yeah. Stay tuned for that one.
I'm intrigued.
It's going to be a good one.
Okay.
Okay. Until next time, happy listening